they basically kidnapped the girl. They forced the girl to go to the wedding area. So the wedding is already like set up.
Yeah, they already set up
They
the
already
wedding
set up
area.
the whole
They
wedding
set
area,
up the whole wedding area.
The craziest part, I remember both of us looking at it, was like when they were in the car about to like kidnap this girl, right? They were all like, oh my god, I'm so nervous. Oh my god, it's my wedding day. Do you think she'll say yes? Do you think we'll be able to kidnap her? Let's hope we got this today.
You got it, bro. Don't worry. Don't stress, man.
Let's
It's all
go.
good.
After they kidnapped her, they're like, yeah, we got this. I heard this on Theo Vaughn's podcast. He was talking to a neuroscientologist where he was like quitting porn for like 70 days, and the liquid of masculinity is like stored inside me, and like when you release that instant gratification of releasing yourself, it feels like you're dripping out your masculinity. Just keep it in. You're like, oh, I'm a man, you know? And then when you compare it to like a pipe, right? When you see a leaky pipe, you're like, that's not a strong pipe. But then when you see like a nice strong pipe and like the water's stuck in there and it's like nicely screwed, it's like, yeah, that's a strong pipe.
What the fuck?
Alright, what is up, guys? Welcome to the Hey Hammy Show. And today we have another episode of like not reacting. You know what? Let's do the reacting thing. We actually watched the Kyrgyzstan, the Bride Kidnappings in Kyrgyzstan after we watched the Filipino thing.
Yeah.
I feel like our reaction to that was worse than the Filipino one, the Filipino teen mom. But like, I just wouldn't understand how to make a video out of it.
Yeah.
But I think we can at least talk about it.
We can talk about it for sure.
Yeah, but I didn't know it
100%.
was like everyone already knew about it. Like I had zero clue about this thing. To be
I
honest.
didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how do you even... where do you even start, though?
I don't want to laugh, but at the same time, like the situation wasn't as bad as it looked. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it didn't look as bad as the 15-year-old.
It looked horrific.
It just
But-
really solidifies what we said. Like culture plays a huge role in life.
Huge, man. Huge.
Yeah.
I didn't... throughout the entire video that we were watching, I was speechless. Like, I was so baffled
Yeah.
that culture could be so different.
Yeah.
And like expectations of reality could be so different. You see like what happens, right? It's like, but first of all, should we break down what like the bridal, like the kidnappings in Kyrgyzstan are?
Okay, so essentially it's like they have like a culture where they kidnap the girls that the guy wants to marry, even if they're already dating,
Yeah.
right? Even if they're already dating and like they want to like make it faster and like get married, and then they basically kidnap the girl and then they forced the girl to go to the wedding area. So the wedding is already like set up.
Yeah, they already set up
They
the
already
wedding
set up
area.
the whole
They
wedding
set
area,
up the
right?
whole wedding area. This girl and her family has no idea that she's about to get kidnapped.
Yeah.
They send out the groom and his mates and like all of them, kidnap her, take her in the car, take her back to the wedding area, and then it's up to the female elders of the groom's family to persuade her and make her say yes to the wedding.
But that's not the craziest part. The craziest part, I remember both of us looking at it, was like when they were in the car about to like kidnap this girl, right? They were all like, oh my god, I'm so nervous. Oh my god, it's my wedding day. Do you think she'll say yes? Do you think we'll be able to kidnap her? Oh, bro. Like, let's hope we got this today.
You got it, bro. Don't worry. Don't stress, man.
Let's
It's all
go.
good.
And then when they're in the car, after they kidnapped her, they're like, yeah, we got this.
Yeah, while she's kicking around. And
Yeah,
stuff.
while she's kicking around, like screaming, no, this is not what I want in my life. Like, no, they were all just like,
mission successful.
mission success.
I was bad, bro.
It was like,
I was bad.
even they don't look like this was something bad. So even I was like, should I be okay with this? Like
See,
it
that was the other thing. It was like, they seem so normal right now. Am I overreacting?
Yeah. Am I the one?
Am I
overreacting?
overreacting?
I was the one who was actually like, wait
Wait, second.
do I have to overreact? Because even the journalists were in the car and they were just like,
Yeah,
cool, like-
the white dude in the
Yeah,
back was just like,
yeah.
So you got the you got the girl.
Yeah.
So I guess we're now taking this kidnapped girl to the wedding area. We'll see how it goes, bro. He was like just as confused, man.
Yeah.
Like,
And then I think within a few, I think 16 hours, if I'm not wrong, within 16 hours, then like, I guess it's what's the word? Stockholm syndrome, right?
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. So like she was already kidnapped and everything, and then the groom's family started like giving her cookies and all these things, and like doing makeup for her, and then she was like, I mean, what can I do? Like, I accepted it, and then they did the wedding, and within the next day, like, she has to prove herself to be worthy of a wife, and then now she's providing food for the groom's family and everything,
like,
and I'm just like, huh? And she's smiling.
That type of stuff I know exists in like Indian culture as well, and but that wasn't what was like really surprising to me. It was the fact that because like at least in like in like an Indian wedding or Indian ceremony, the consent comes so far earlier, right? That it's like there's like weeks to like process it, and there's like the marriage is coming, you know, and then you go through like the whole week of marriage, and then you do it, right? So there's like time to process and like all of that shit. But for this girl, it was like literally yesterday she got kidnapped, and today the way she was actually like with such conviction as well, like she was like trying, bro. Yeah, like she was going around like putting food out, like sent play. I was just like, is this like a fever dream? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's quite crazy, right?
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. It was such a fat like slap of perspective on me, because I even told you then, I was like, is this what people from like Western culture or like Western predominant Western culture see something like arranged marriage in? Is this how they view arranged marriage?
Yeah.
Is that the same way that I'm viewing this? Because in my head, right, I've known arranged marriage, and to someone who probably hasn't, they'd look at it and be like, what the fuck is this? This makes no sense. What are you doing? Right? Am I having that same reaction to something like this?
Yeah.
And it was just like really, really just slapped me in the head, bro. I couldn't get my head around it.
Yeah, because another 2 points that we missed out was they did the kidnapping in public, and kids saw it, and the kids were just smiling and just like, oh, it's just
it was like a celebration for them.
Yeah, it was like a celebration. And then this is definitely culture, because at the wedding, also another key point is they're Muslims.
Yeah, it's so Muslim.
That this whole kidnapping thing is already like against Muslim culture, right? But they also drink, and it wasn't like, you know, obviously there's Muslims that drinks, right? Like, I'm not going to judge anyone, but during the wedding, it's like they pray like Allahu Akbar Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, and then they have like vodka. I mean, I'm like, huh? I was absolutely confused, and you can't. It's the kind of thing, like, it's so hard to judge, because morality is this would go on to like a whole different topic where like morality is and culture plays a different part in different worlds.
Yeah, that's like that could be like an entire 2-hour fucking episode in itself.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's also interesting that like the elder women who were persuading this girl that it's going to be okay and you should say yes, probably they went through the same thing. Yeah. They were once there as well. So it's just like, I was just trying to imagine, like, do girls growing up in that country know that one day this will happen to them? Because like you said before, they were already dating, but sometimes they're not dating. Sometimes a girl might be dating another dude, and another guy wants to marry her. Yeah. So if he just sets it up first and then kidnaps her, and then that's it. Yeah. Then what do you do?
Yeah. There's definitely like worst case scenarios where like there was another story where I think one of the girls like killed herself or something. Yeah. So this is not like justifying anything at all, bro. Like, sometimes things work, sometimes things don't work. And for this specific story, maybe you can look at it as like short-term crazy story and long-term happiness. I don't know. But at the end of the day, like, for something to start like that, that's just insane. And like, you know,
it's worth noting that this comes from like our perspectives as well, right? Like our privileged positions in life. Yeah. So, for sure. Interesting way to. But even then, you know, I mean, I saw that shit. I was baffled, bro. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Nothing baffled me more when like just the guys being like, I can't imagine being with my guy friend is just like, oh my god, I can't wait. You're like, I'm nervous to like kidnap my girlfriend. Oh my god.
Don't worry, bro. Don't worry. It's all good, man. I got the car running, bro. Don't worry. Can we go out? You go out.
Yeah. And then they're like, remember they were watching her from the back.
Her friend helped. Yeah. Her friend helped kidnap her. Yeah. Because so they met up with her beforehand, and they're like, okay, so we want you to take her to this watering hole, and so then while she's filling up the water, we'll pick her up, and we'll pick you up as well, and then we'll drive in the car. And she's like, okay, got you.
Yeah.
So, what?
It's crazy, right?
What the fuck?
Yeah. Actual crazies. But like we said, I don't know if we are any better in certain things. I mean, as much as we have a lot of like in Western culture with like hookup culture, that I wouldn't say that's in any way any better. As much as we are enjoying and having the freedom, I don't know what lies for the future of this culture, man. Like, as much as they are enjoying, but bro, I don't know where this generation is going to be in 50 years time.
Again,
with
did we mention the selfish and selfless type of self-love last episode?
I have no idea.
Did we talk about that? I don't remember.
You can try. Just go ahead.
Yeah, no, because we just mentioned that. It was like, there is a selfless type of self-love in Eastern communities, right? And then the type of self-love that exists in like Western civilization and stuff is more selfish self-love.
Yeah. I think we did. Yeah,
did we mention that?
Yeah, just mention it again, just in case.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like when you go on media, right, and you see online all about like self-love, like love yourself. It's a very selfish type. Like you prioritize yourself in your life as compared to others. And I'm not passing judgment here. I'm just laying it out as it is.
We're just speaking facts, right?
Exactly. And in Eastern civilization, like Indian, Asian, all of that, it's more of a selfless type of self-love. To love yourself means to prioritize others over yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I agree more with the Eastern culture, maybe because I am Southeast Asian. Yeah. But I think it's because, you know what? Everything is a balance. I believe life is a balance, and there's something about like when you, I don't know, you know what, I can't say it anymore because I feel like some people grew up with toxic families and everything, so I can't really say from that point of view. But I think, granted, if you're growing up in a generally healthy family, and if you are doing the right things for them, they will also want the right things for you. So it's like a natural process. And sometimes I feel like, there's no perfect answer, because I feel like some cultures, like, they're too selfish, and in some cultures it's like too much pressure on like your family. Because again,
I was just stating it out how it is, but I'm not saying one is better than the other. Because
it's like just the differences. Yeah,
because like selfless type of self-love can still be like really heavy. I mean, why do you think so many fucking girls kill themselves over forced arranged marriages and stuff?
Yeah,
there's a reason that happens.
I think the word, we can go a little bit on this. The word self-love itself, I think in the Western culture, where I've talked about this in quite a few episodes, where like people use the word self-love, but they don't realize it's actually self-sabotage, because the word love has been so romanticized that when people say like have a self-love day or like self-care day, that when you like go out, do retail shopping, do your nails, watch Netflix, chill out, that is self-love if you've worked hard. But you don't do that when you've been doing jack shit in your life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how in the hell is going to the gym or actually like working hard for your future not self-love? Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying like you should go out there and like keep on the grind, but if you have something that you have to do, right? Or even exercise, for example. Yes, it is tiring, it is painful, but at no point can I ever say like, no one will tell you like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym today. Oh, why are you going to the gym, man? Like, take a rest. Like you deserve like the love. Like, going to the gym or exercising will always be love for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Doing something good. So the word self-love is not that like romanticized doing nothing at home. Rather, it's actually doing the work that provides you that long-term fulfillment. You know, that delayed gratification.
Yeah, right.
I heard this on Theo Vaughn's podcast. He was talking to a neuroscientologist where he was like, I don't know, man. Like when I've been quitting porn for like 70 days, and I just feel like a man because like the liquid, right? The liquid of masculinity is like stored inside me, and like when you release that, like just instant gratification of releasing yourself, it feels like you're dripping out your masculinity. Do you know what I mean? But when you focus on the long-term gratification and like just keep it in, you're like, oh, I'm a man, you know? And when you finally have sex with the right woman, you're like, this is how it's supposed to be, you know? Like, I'm strong. And then when you compare it to like a pipe, right? When you see a leaky pipe, you're like, that's not a strong pipe. You know, like water's leaking. But then when you see like a nice strong pipe and like the water's is like stuck in there and it's like nicely screwed, it's like, yeah, that's a strong pipe.
What the fuck? That was Theo saying that, wasn't it? Yeah,
yes,
bro.
Yes. That was Theo.
Of
Yes.
course it was fucking Theo.
Yeah. Let me. You know what? I think we can add this. We might not. Most probably we won't be copyrighted for this. Most likely. I was dying, bro, when I was watching this.
77 days off of pornography and 70 days off of masturbation. So I've had sexual activities, but I haven't been, I don't know what they say in your country, you know, topping off the
wanking.
Wanking. yeah. Thinking of the queen or whatever they say, you know, I don't know what they say. Queen takes roof or whatever. Yeah, so that's been kind of different, you know. For me, that's been different, but that was a huge thing.
How is it different?
Like semen, or some people call it what, I don't know what people call it or whatever, like party sauce or whatever. I don't even know what people call it, you know, on the street or whatever. But like, I feel like the more I keep it in my body, the more masculine I feel, right? And the more of myself I feel, as opposed to just having a leak of it constantly. You know, it was kind of like I almost had a leak of my masculinity. And I would cause the leak, but the leak would happen. And it was just like a dripping pipe. It was like, you look at a dripping pipe, you're like, you know. But you look at a pipe that's not dripping, you're like, hey, this is some pretty good construction
I like
over
that.
here.
I love that phrase, leak of my masculinity. So
yeah, that's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
You know, now that I really think about it.
It's
interesting, right?
It's funny how he can be talking about something so serious and real, and still say shit like busting my party sauce all over. And it's like, what the nah, but that was interesting. I mean, my take on it is that he's clearly handled how he handles it really well.
Yeah.
So like, you know, there was a meaning behind why he did what he did with porn.
Yep.
And now he's getting over that, and he's doing what he needs to do to be better. So yeah, I mean, hats off to Theo.
Right. Yeah. We'll see if one day we'll talk about that topic, but for now, I don't know. I don't even know how to.
For now, just go watch Theo Von.
Yeah, just watch Theo Von,
Just watch
to be honest.
Theo Von.
All right, we'll read other people's stories. All right. Before we get into the Reddit, am I overreacting and ITA stuff, there was speaking of porn, like I was watching Dr. John Deloney. Speaking of me watching porn. Right? No, I was watching Dr. John Deloney, and someone called in for like a porn addiction.
Yeah.
But it was the first time I felt so bad for this guy, man. This guy was like Dr. John, like I'm a porn addict, and like I'm trying to change my life, and I know this is not me. Like this is not with my values as a Christian. Like I need to change it. And I thought as a porn addict, like when you hear someone who's addicted to porn, like we know a lot of guys who are like into porn, like at most that I hear of is like once a day, twice a day, that kind of thing. Then this man dropped the number, man. And
What was the number, bro?
Oh shit, bro. What's your guess?
You said that like it's got to be up there.
Yeah.
I'll lowball it. I'll say 5.
That's pretty good. All right. So this man was crying. Yeah. This guy was like, John, I really, this is not me, and like people reject me so much, and I need to change this. And he's like, how much do you do it in a day? And he's like, I get off like 30 times a day, man. And he's 18 years old, man. Oh. When he said 30, and I heard how he said 30, it wasn't even like 30 times, man. Like, it was like, oh man, it's like 30 times a day, man. Like, it was the first time I heard someone like, this is an addict. Like, this is an addict. Like, this is not like whatever we hear from our friends. It's it's far from an addict. This is like 30, bro.
Bro, 30 is
Yep.
wild.
30 is reaching a point where like you're not enjoying it anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Bro.
It's like
that's
you're not enjoying it.
30 is like, you still have to do like your daily activities throughout the day, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you chucked like 30 into like the waking hours of a day, you've got like a stat, right? It could be like, I don't know, like 2-3 times an hour for your waking hours in a day, right?
Yeah.
But if you take away like, if you put into stuff that you need to do, like you have breakfast, you have lunch, you go out, you need to do groceries or some shit, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is that you need to do. He's 18, so he probably still goes to school as well, or college or whatever.
Yeah,
so all
he's
of
in
that,
college,
right?
yeah.
Exactly. So all of that. That means he's having like, that doesn't mean he's like got like every hour he does it this many times. That means he's got dedicated hours
Yep.
in the day where he does nothing but that.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
And
wild.
and obviously like he was going to like the webcam stuff and all these kind of things, and he was just like, John, I just don't know how I ended up here. And like, yeah, it sucks, man, because like,
That's rough. That's really rough.
yeah, it was a rough call. Like I'll definitely watch the video again, just because like I forgot what was the exact like solution the doctor gave, other than going to like an addict like group meeting. And also finding your trigger. So anyone going through an addiction, I think the two things is like finding your trigger and also changing your routine. And finding that trigger was like, for example, for him was, I think a lot of guys, but I don't, for me personally, I don't have that trigger, where it's like they look through Instagram feeds and they see the girls and they're like,
Oh,
then
it
they
like triggers
yeah,
like,
triggers
yeah,
like they
gotcha,
want to
gotcha.
watch porn from there. Literally just now I was watching George Jenko's podcast. He got this the ex gang member. I don't know if you've seen. It's been like popping off right now. George, let me see. George, he was interviewing this ex gang member who became Christian, and he's been like really popular right now. His name is Johnny Chang. He said his 16-year-old son told his dad, like, I don't want to watch porn. I've been addicted to porn. Like, I've been watching it like daily, and one of the triggers was Instagram girls. And his dad was like, Johnny Chang was like, oh shit, how do I address this? And the only thing he told him to do, like, look, the problem isn't porn. Interesting, right? A Christian father says that the problem isn't porn. You as a young man having lustful thoughts is normal, it's fine. And then obviously, what's the easiest way to get this lustful thoughts to like succumb to your physical needs? Get porn, right? And then you finish it off. So instead, all his dad did was like, problem isn't porn, the problem is you don't have anything else other than porn to get this dopamine hit or to do something in your life. So all he told his son was like, look, your feelings are fine, which gives you like a sense of like, oh wait, there's nothing wrong with me, right? And then he's like, when you're home, don't bring your phone to the toilet. Don't bring your phone to the room. Leave it outside. When you have a message, reply. Go back to your room. Do whatever you need. When you're doing your assignments, go outside. Do it with me. And within like 3 weeks, and he just told his dad, like, I stopped watching porn. Like, it's been 3 weeks and like, I'm cool, you know? And it was such an interesting thing because I think just as humans, like I was caught by my dad like way years ago as well, right? And I think the natural thing to do is like, you have to stop, right? But what we don't know what that does in like psychological terms mean is like, it just feels like you're wrong and now you just want to rebel. But I think what Johnny Chang did was like a prime example of like, look, religiously, we want to stop, but obviously, logically, all of us are going to be lustful, right? All men, women, like every one of us, we have different like sex drives and everything. But it's just, how do you want to control it and keep it? And I think everyone has different ways of like triggering themselves. Maybe that triggered him. And then for Theo Von, it's the masculinity. I agree with that as well. Like something about keeping it in, like you really like feel powerful about it. And for me, the last question was, I just keep telling myself this question, like, what kind of man do you want to be? Every time I ask myself that question, I'm like, what kind of man do I want to be? And then I'm like, okay, I just don't want to watch it then. It's like, do I want to be a man that's going to be watching porn at 30 years old? And I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. that works for me. So
Yeah,
mm,
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
yeah, interesting how we got here. And
Yeah, truly, Jesus.
yeah. Right, so I've saved some ITAS and AIO stories, and let's see how this one goes, guys. Let's go. Am I overreacting by leaving my boyfriend because of a quote-unquote joke about his brother sexually abusing me or / assaulting, right? Should I give this? Nah, you know what? Let me tell the story,
Yeah,
and
so
then
tell
and
the
then give the context.
Tell the story first.
I'm at a breaking point. I've been with me, 29, female, and my boyfriend, 34, for 5 years in total. For the past year, we had been trying for a baby with no luck. Eventually, we went for testing, and well, I did, and I'm fine, but my boyfriend was infertile. He was devastated. I was more optimistic, saying I was very open to adoption. After a few weeks, he came to me with a suggestion. My boyfriend has an identical twin brother. And yes, he wanted to get his brother to be the bio father to our baby. I'm not going to, you know what? If they're good people, I'm not going to say anything. The thing is, his brother is a toxic a-hole. He never can get past 3 dates with a woman because he is an a-hole. I've accepted that he will always be in our lives because they are very close. When I met my boyfriend, his brother was working on the side of the... You know what? I'll just say the name. Because she put a name here. I don't know why she put the name. But the boyfriend's name is Toby and the boyfriend's brother's name is Tom.
Okay.
Toby met Tom. When I met Toby, Tom was working on the other side of the country and I didn't even meet him for 2 years in person. But Toby is different when with Tom. So when they're
Gotcha.
together as
Yep.
brothers, they're different. Then they become toxic together.
Yep.
All right. So there was a point after my boyfriend moved back that he started to make jokes about me, but they were mean. And Toby laughed and joined in. I'm normally quiet and non-confrontational, but I blew up on them and they stopped. But things have not been good between Tom and I since. So I wasn't on board with Toby's suggestion. Now he brought his brother home with him one night to discuss it with me. I sat and listened, and then they made a joke about us making the baby the old-fashioned way as it was cheaper. I said, no, gross, no thanks. And then Tom said, how do you know we haven't already had sex? I looked confused, and he said, when you are drunk, you can't tell us apart, and us brothers like to share. I looked at my boyfriend, and he was laughing and nodding. I said that I can tell them apart, and I know my boyfriend. But then Toby said that in the dark and being drunk, I wouldn't know. Yeah. Yeah, I just have to pause for a little bit because like it's just insane that this is actually happening. Now I know well I can tell them apart even if they do look very alike. But there have been about 4 or 5 occasions that we did have sex when I was drunk and in the dark. Twice was in a hotel room and they were just at home after like hanging out with friends. So I'm just unsure. Also during that fun conversation, Tom also inferred that he said he and Toby switched places to cover for Toby but wouldn't say for what. It was to imply cheating. But as I know them apart, but after 2 weeks of keeping up these jokes, I started to second guess everything. Eventually, I decided to go through all of Toby's devices and I needed to know if there was any grain of truth in either of these jokes. I found a text exchange on his iPad where they appeared to be discussing hiding something but it's pretty vague and the messages don't go back very far at all. This had been eating away at me and Toby is still keeping up this joke at this stage. Eventually, I planned to try to get his phone as I hadn't looked there as I plotted. I realized the depths of the paranoia and distress and anxiety I had sank to. The trust is fully gone and I told him straight that I was moving out to my friend's house, that if he continued to infer that he allowed his brother to assault me without my consent, I'd be going to the police about both of them. He freaked out. He said it was just a joke and I was taking it too seriously. I couldn't deal with him and left and went to stay with a friend. And she's asking, am I being unreasonable? Am I blowing this out of proportion? I feel I'm so turned around that I don't know. And the guy hasn't texted her or contacted her. And yep, what do I do?
I don't know what to say.
Again, as we have read quite a few stories on Reddit, it's like when you read the story like this, it's so obvious, right? But you've been together with this person for 5 years, man. For 5 years. Now she's 29, right? She's reaching that 30 age, and obviously they're trying to have a kid. But she already moved out. That's a good thing. But to me, at any point, if your brother is joking about... No, sorry. Your significant other is joking about sexual assault to you, and then you add his family member... At any point, even if it's a joke, it should not be a joke. Nothing closed. You want to do it behind closed doors, that's your problem. But to say it to your significant other like that...
This is fucked. This is fucked. This is so fucked.
One of the comments was my favorite. This is God's way of saying you cannot have his child. Like God is protecting you right now. Like, just don't have his child.
I'm getting antsy. Like, that is so fucked. That is so beyond fucked. How can you... Okay, first of all, this dude is 34. His partner is 29. Okay, you're at a stage in life when you're ready to have a child with one another. Okay,
already planning
on having a child, having tried, and then going through probably what was like a pretty distressful time in his life, finding out that he was infertile. Right, and you know, her saying she was open to like options of like adoption and whatnot. Right, to then say, right, to first like offer having your brother as a biological father to the child is one thing. That's one thing, right?
Yep.
And considering that when he first brought it up, she was already against it. That's number one, right? Because she didn't like Tom,
yep,
the brother. But he still brought him over to talk about it with her in person, right? And what was her response to that? She sat down and she listened, right? Which is, for one, she was already against it, but she still gave it a shot. She still sat down and listened to them, right? For then him to joke with his brother about saying shit like, oh, what if you make a baby the old-fashioned way? And then on top of that, to pile it with, oh, you never know, we might have already done it, ha ha ha, we're identical brothers, you know, when you're drunk you can't tell us apart, or in the dark. That is so fucked up.
Bro, just you saying that back to me, like my gut feeling is like I'm literally sinking right now.
It is,
and I can't imagine like what she was feeling at that time when this conversation was happening.
Like, bro, that's how do you... It's like, again, it's one of those situations, right, where you think you know someone so well. Like, and
she probably does, you know?
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like, you love someone wholeheartedly. You think you know them so well. And they go and do shit like this. And then it just fucks your head. This is why so many people have trust issues. Because people do dumb shit like this. I also understand how, like... I understand the toxic version of himself with his brother. That makes sense. Because a lot of people change how they are with different people, right?
Yep.
And unfortunately, as many cases go, sometimes you turn into a cunt when you're hanging out with cunts, right? Because you've probably known them for a long time. You don't see a problem with the relationship or whatever, right? That's a different thing. But at least have the dignity to fucking... like respect your partner's self-respect. Like, cover them, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if it's like your brother or something. Like, he's chatting shit about your girl, man, your partner. Like, how are you gonna pile on with that to her? Explain that to me. How does that even enter such crude and fucking vulgar shit as well?
Yeah.
Like saying dumb shit like, oh, we might have already done it. Like, how, brother?
Yeah.
Brother. And then she said that they had been doing that for like weeks on end, like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah. And like they've done this kind of thing like in the past as well, you know.
Nah. No.
I feel like this was let me see. This was 6 days ago, I think. As the days go by, I think OP is definitely going to be looking back and like, oh shit, these were the moments already. Like, there were already like a lot of moments where like I overlooked them. And Yeah, because how could you not tell, you know? Because I think hearing this conversation is not just the brother, you know, just the fact that your significant other is also like okay talking about it like this to you. Even if I'm like, I have a few friends where like we say a lot of like messed up shit, right? Like toxic stuff, all right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would never say that to like my significant other.
Yeah,
Because I know it's purely jokes and like this is not a joke that's meant for like
it's
not,
You got to know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Because this goes back to what we were talking about before as well. It's like no matter what your intention is, if someone's hurt, then they're hurt.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is crazy, right? Because attention is not intention, and then no matter what your intention is, if you hurt someone, then you hurt someone.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I don't understand how someone can be that fucking stupid or that fucking crude
At that age as well.
At that age as well. You're 34, bro.
Yeah. The more you listen to these stories, man, like the more you realize, like sometimes when you expect someone to be more mature, like you just can't. Like there's too many cases, man. Too many cases. I think it's one of those, like, including myself, it's like when you've been around someone for that long and you know your character, like you definitely know, like, I have morals, I have values, I stick to it. And then when you've been with like a friend or relationship or like a parent or whoever for that long, it makes you question, like, wait, they've never learned from me, or like they didn't change? Like, how did I miss this? Why was I hanging out with someone that is so misaligned in my values for that long? Yeah. But for sure, OP is gonna spend this next few days just being like, oh my god, it was all there.
Yeah. OP, I'm sorry you had to go through that. That is wild and fucked. So I'm glad you moved out, you know. Take the steps you need to take, but by golly, what was the question, by the way? Was it, am I overreacting?
Yeah, am I overreacting by like leaving him?
Yeah, no, you're not.
Yeah, because like I said, I told you before, like when I did all these we are reaching a point where like we talk a lot about relationships. I think the two things that breaks a relationship is not necessarily the act of like cheating, but it's the betrayal and the trust aspect. Because the question is like, how do I trust this person now? You know, even if you've never, let's say like you would never cheat, or if you've never cheated, right? But let's say you speak about something like this, how do you trust them in future, right? Because like you will always have doubts in your mind. And then when we go to like the Vow movie, where the father like cheated on the daughter's best friend, it's very different because like his values and his character has always been there, but that one time he messed up, then that's a whole different case as well. But like, yeah, it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
I'm trust and betrayal.
Yeah. I'm thinking about how this story could be better if it was told from her partner's perspective. Because I know the importance of having both perspectives in a story, but I'm trying to really rack my brain here. I don't see it being any better.
Yeah, because I mean, she's already said like she's been gone for like 6 days or something, and he hasn't texted. So like,
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I really can't see how she's not in the right here. Yeah.
That's why you gotta have your own standards and values, and you can't. That's the problem with codependent relationships, right? Is because when things like this happen, you're like, you don't know if you need to leave because you're just too dependent on the person. But when you actually have values and stuff, then you're like, this is clearly bad for me, I gotta walk out. So yeah, wish you all the best, OP, and hopefully find a person that's worthy of your love, brother. Right, let's do one last story. It's a very similar story, man, as to the previous episode. Yeah, okay. So you can do the honest because you killed it the last one.
Okay, all right. Am I the asshole for walking out of dinner after my boyfriend humiliated me in front of his family over my cooking? I, 26 female, have been with my boyfriend, 28 male, for about a year now. We get along well most of the time, but something happened last weekend that's really been bothering me. We went over to his parents' house for dinner, and ever since, things have been awkward. A bit of backstory. I love cooking. I'm not a professional by any means, but it's something I'm passionate about and take pride in. My boyfriend knows this, but he's constantly comparing my cooking to his mum's, especially when it comes to a lasagna. I've heard about this lasagna more times than I can count. So before we leave for his parents' house, he makes this offhand comment. Maybe you'll finally learn how to make lasagna properly tonight. Yours could definitely use some improvement. I tried to laugh it off, but honestly, it hurt my feelings. Still, I brushed it aside because I didn't want to start anything before dinner. We get to his parents' place, and as expected, his mum's lasagna is the star of the meal. Everyone is raving about it, and of course, my boyfriend jumps in to say, "Oh man, this is real lasagna." OP tried making it once, but let's just say there's a reason we're all here eating at my mum's tonight. Everyone laughed. I felt embarrassed, but kept smiling to avoid making things awkward. Then he kept going, saying that I burnt the sauce, I didn't, and that maybe I should just leave lasagna to the experts. His family was cracking up, and I sat there, trying not to lose it. It wasn't just a joke to me. It felt like he was putting me down, especially in front of his family, who I'm still trying to make a good impression with. I couldn't handle it anymore, so I excused myself from the table and went to sit in the car. A few minutes later, my boyfriend comes out looking confused and asks why I left. I told him how I was hurt by his comments, and instead of apologizing, he said I was overreacting and that it was just a joke. He said I needed to stop being so sensitive and learn to take a joke, especially around his family. I was upset and told him that if he thought embarrassing me in front of his family was funny, maybe he should just date his mum's cooking instead. Now that didn't go over well. He got angry and accused me of ruining the night. Since then, we've barely spoken and he's waiting for me to apologize, but I feel like he should be the one apologizing. So now I'm wondering, did I take it too far? Was I being overly sensitive? Or was I right to walk out after being embarrassed like that? Am I the asshole?
Nah, you're not. I feel like I've seen this in real life quite a bit, but for there to be no resolve, that's why you're not the asshole. Like, by the time the whole thing finished, right? To me, once she's reached that like family laughing point, me as a husband, like I would stop there already. But let's say like people really do like take it, right? To me, the ending point should be once she walks out, that's it. Like, just apologize already. Like, it's done. But like, it just kept going and going throughout the night, dude. Like, that's just, yeah. Not a crazy big issue, to be honest, but like, she's not the asshole here.
She is not the asshole at all. I like this comment. This comment is, guy is managing to be completely insensitive and overly sensitive. Anyone who refuses to try to understand your perspective while demanding you align with theirs is not worth another second of your time. Bro, this shit is so fucking stupid. That like, I don't understand, man. How do you... I guess there are people like that who are like so incredibly close with their family that jokes like that amongst each other is okay, I guess, and it's like it's fine. And then when you do that to someone who's not used to such an environment, it will definitely hurt them. So it's one thing for your intention to not have been how she took it, right? That's one thing. But to not acknowledge how she feels, right? Especially when she said that it did hurt her, then man, come on, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing?
Yeah.
She's not the asshole.
Yeah. Because like I said, it's exactly what I said, right? Like, if at least by the end of the night, he says something, or like, I don't know, just stop making lasagna.
He may not have even been the asshole for saying what he said, but he was definitely the asshole for not apologizing and trying to understand her.
See, this is why specifics matter, bro. Specifics matter. Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah. Stop eating lasagna, guys. I miss I miss a good lasagna, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna boycott lasagna.
Boycott.
I'm gonna boycott that shit.
Oh, dude, I remember the first time I had a lasagna. I didn't even know what the hell a lasagna was. My aunt made it, and I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
this exists.
Yeah,
Bro,
bro,
what in the world is this? It's like Ratatouille, you know?
This
Like,
is Ratatouille
it's like,
shit right here,
oh,
bro. Layers on
shit.
layers, baby.
yeah, the layers of layers, and then like when you eat it, and then the whole like the history of the past comes out. One ego, you know. Then the mom was cooking that shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, maybe that's what happened to him. That's why he's so like into it, you know. When he eats his mom's lasagna, and he gets the
Yeah,
like,
maybe his mum's lasagna is like
It's
the
like-
one true thing in his life.
and then he drops the pen. He's like, maybe that's how he feels.
That lasagna is the only constant in his life.
Yeah.
The one thing he can go back to for warmth and
Yeah.
comfort.
What if that was actually the reason? Yeah. After the whole conversation, and then she's like, I don't want to make lasagna anymore. And he's like, lasagna saved me. My dad beat me, and she made lasagna, and it was the best lasagna in my life. All I asked for is for you to make some decent lasagna, and all you do is burn the tomatoes. Oh god.
Oh man.
How old are they? Wait. I forgot how old are they? Did they say how
They
old
did. They
were?
did.
28, 26, yeah. My age basically, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
bro. That's
I hope you guys don't like they what boyfriend. I hope you guys don't break up over this. This is like not like you,
Yeah,
you have bigger problems to go down the line, right?
I think the give that dude some time and let him reflect. Let him reflect. If he comes back to you with the right answer, then great, you can move on. If he refuses to acknowledge you and your perspective and still blames you for ruining the night, then yeah, I mean, what can you do there, right? Then you just don't align.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That was an interesting one. That was Ital, right? Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Am I the Asshole? If you guys have any more stories down in the comments, just leave it down in the comments, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Damn, bro. Lasagna.
Some dumbass shit, bro. Just fucking stupid.
But it's like literally the same story as the.
It literally was, yeah. Except this time, it wasn't
They got-
even like, he did it like in front of family and stuff.
Oh, yeah. And it was specific, man.
It was
Specific,
way too specific, bro.
lasagna.
I want to try his mom's lasagna. That must be like God sent my lasagna.
It's been a while since I've had lasagna. Because my aunt